Morning guys, welcome back to the 1394 project. Today we're going to work at the clutch. So I'm going to turn the camera around and show you guys what's up with that. Alright, so obviously in the last video, but in a previous video, we addressed the issue with the leaky seal down in there that you probably can't see. Yes, you can now. Anyway, we fixed that in a previous video, and we also got the flywheel all cleaned up here. I was just doing some painting there, so I got the engine covered up. That's why. Nothing too serious. So anyway, so we got the engine end sorted out. We got that end sorted out, the tractor end. So now we just got to deal with this here, which is the clutch itself. Alright, so sitting on my little bench here, I got the clutch out of the tractor. This is the, it's not a two-stage, it's like a, well, it's an independent PTO clutch, so it's kind of like two clutches stacked on top of each other, I guess, basically is how they kind of explain it. But this disc here is for the PTO clutch. The PTO disc will press up against this here and against the flywheel. So there isn't really anywhere on this surface, I wouldn't say, and the flywheel looked pretty good too, so I guess that was why that was the case, just because this is the PTO clutch, not the drive clutch. The PTO clutch will see a lot less use than, you know, the drive clutch, especially on a loader tractor. So anyway, when I first took this off, I didn't think it looked too bad. I almost thought maybe it might have been a new clutch put on it, because I mean you can still see like the factory scratching in the clutch plate itself. So, and there was a lot of life left in the discs too. The thickness of the PTO clutch wasn't much different than the new one that I bought for it, but anyway, I pulled it apart some more. So I guess I should mention that one of the important things when you take apart one of these clutches, if you're going to bother, is to keep everything oriented. So I had marked them previously to make sure they went back the same way that they came apart. So anyway, that's the PTO side of it out of the way. So now we can just focus on the drive side of it. So there would have been springs all around here and these little nubs, which are here in this bag. Just a bag full of clutch parts there. The whole thing is sitting kind of upside down, I guess. The flywheel will go against this side. So anyway, this section here is for the drive, so we can take this out. And the drive clutch would have sat in between these two plates, you know, like that. Obviously I took this all apart before and cleaned it up. This whole thing was covered in grease and oil from that leaking seal that we had. So that's, I just cleaned this up kind of off camera. One of the days I had some time I wanted to waste. So basically this doesn't look too terrible either. There is some scratching and grooving in it, and there is some wear. But as far as cracks go and heat damage, there isn't really much to speak of. There's a little bit of discoloration on it from heat, but it's not too terrible. There was one crack in it, I think I found. Just a minor crack right there. You probably can't even see it in the camera, I wouldn't do. Right by my thumb. If it would focus, it might even help too. No, it's not gonna be our friend today in focusing. So anyway, take my word for it, there's a little crack there, but it's not too bad a shape. I think if you had it machined, the book says the maximum you can take off it is 20 thousandths, I think per plate, for a total of 40 thousandths. I think 20 thousandths would probably clean this up. This one here inside it doesn't seem to be as bad. So I mean, you probably clean it up a little bit too, but I think it's still a usable clutch. I think you could work with it if you needed to, but then comes the next problem. So I could get this cleaned up at a machine shop, put a new drive plate in it, and put it back together. But as far as putting it back together goes, we run into another issue, which is trying to get this thing adjusted. So there is a pretty specific set of measurements and everything else and procedures for setting up this clutch. It's not as simple as just putting it back together, unfortunately. With those levers that were on the other clutch and stuff, it would make more sense. And I'll try to insert a picture of it assembled maybe in the video, but there's just a lot going on inside these clutches. And if I had the jigs and the tools, I actually started to make, when I took it apart, even taking it apart was a problem. I had to, basically I took a 5/8 plate, I put spacers underneath it to push up on the discs inside, and I bolted it back down to the plate. That way I could release the levers and pull it apart. But anyway, you'd need a certain kind of jig set up with certain kind of measurements and whatever else. And basically the problem is that I can't find any information on that, and I can't find, there's a whole set of special tools from Case for doing these clutches, which is fine, but I can't find any of the special tools, and I can't find any of the measurements for the special tools. So I'm pretty much up shit creek as far as that goes. Like, there's not much I can do with it myself without taking it to a shop or something like that. So I kind of weighed my options, and you know, this one here, I could take it to get machined, put the new parts in it. Oh yeah, that's another ridiculous thing too. So let me just grab this here plate again. So these here plates, I think I mentioned it before, but there's springs in here. So there's 12 springs, and on each spring there's a fiber washer on either side of the spring. So there's 24 washers and 12 springs. I priced these from Case, the springs and the washers, and I think it was like $500 or $600 US just for the springs. Now I think the springs that I have are probably fine, like they don't look too bad, but even the washers were half that, so like 250 US. So that'd be, you know, 250 US be probably $300 or $400 by the time I got them. And I called around a few other places about them, and they didn't have them in stock and didn't tell me a price or nothing like that either. So I just kind of forgot about them basically. So that's just the washers and the discs, the washers and the springs, I should say. And then there's the discs themselves, which I actually have both discs here, because I originally planned on, like I said, just replacing the discs. I thought it was in pretty good shape. I still need the PTO disc, but I do have an extra drive disc now. But so anyway, I just kind of weighed my options with the costs of basically trying to rebuild this one, and the more I thought about it, I think the decision I came to was probably the right decision. But I decided to just replace this entire clutch. So I should have it here tomorrow. I ordered it at the dealership there in up the line, Antigonish. It was in there today, and they're sending it down to me, so I should have it tomorrow, hopefully by courier, and I'll be able to put that on. So it's basically the entire clutch assembly less the PTO disc, which I have. So we'll just be able to take it and bolt it right onto the flywheel, and we'll be done. So I put this up on the old Kijiji because maybe someone else wants to take this and make it work. You know, some people are a lot less fussy than I am when it comes to tractors, so you never know. But yeah, it's still here for now, but I think it's a good serviceable unit. Just a matter of finding all the parts for it and finding somebody that can set it up. But yeah, I'm going to go with a new unit. So they're not going to be using this one at all, and all these parts and stuff can go back under the bench, and we got to work on some other stuff. Well, my plan for tonight here is to put that clutch, which is right here, that clutch. You can see it's starting to rust already. Welcome to an island surrounded by the Atlantic Ocean. But anyway, we're gonna put that clutch onto this flywheel here. So I just quickly cleaned up the surface of that. I gotta, clean it off with something solvent. But yeah, I got the tool made. We've seen that in the last video. I think I should already have a clip of what happened to the old clutch or what was wrong with it. So yeah, I got the tool made, so let's see if we can't get it installed on there. Alright, so I got the special tool here, and since the last clip where I machined the whole thing, I ended up putting it back on the lathe. I just softened these corners a little bit and I ended up trimming this down a little bit more. It was just a little bit tight on the bearing in the flywheel there, so I did that. Now we have to take this thing and stand it on end, I guess. Like that. Okay, that's good. Now, we don't need this, I don't think. Yeah, so we're going to take the tool, and hopefully it fits in this bearing. I might have to remachine again. I don't know, that's alright, I think. Maybe a touch tight. Maybe that's just as far as it goes, I don't know. Seems a wee bit tight on that bearing. This will be this OD. Very interesting. That one is within spec when we machined it, so should be alright. I might just try tapping it lightly with a hammer. I don't want to end up pressing the bearing out of there. Well, she hits pretty solid. Alright, well, might have to resize that a little bit then. I'm going to put that plate up against there and have a look, see what that looks like. I haven't used the tool before, so I don't know. This here should go over there. Of course, that's tight too. Funny how you make it so carefully to the exact specifications that it gives you, and everything is ridiculously tight. So I guess we'll chuck it up in the lathe and just take a skim cut on it. I don't think I need to, yeah, I probably will anyway, I guess. We'll take a little bit more off and I'll be right back. Alright, I think I got all the necessary modifications made to our little clutch tool here. So we'll stick it through on the back side, like that. Or actually, it'll be the front side, I suppose. Now, this is the PTO plate, which goes, oh no, goes the other way. Goes this way. Alright. Now we're ready to transfer this over to the tractor, and with the new clutch being a little bit different than the old, according to the instructions also, it's supplied with brand new bolts to bolt it on. And I think I'm going to wait for some help putting this on, because this is heavy. So I'll tackle that tomorrow.
It's not that heavy anyway. Yeah, this side, this side.
It doesn't really matter. Just don't get away the camera there. You don't want to block that, you know.
That's not a grunt. You hold up on this while you.
Well, you figure I'd put a bolt in, I think.
I'll find a place to put it today, I think.
I was with the lock washer on it too.
Oh,
Two
oh,
in that
two
one.
on it. I guess only two. One will do. Is there a hole there somewhere?
Yeah.
Not hitting it yet. That might have been it. Yeah.
One there.
Let's start it.
Yeah.
You all right? Good guess.
Yeah. Alright, we got the clutch sitting there. I just got to tighten up the bolts. I was a little bit nervous to put all the weight of the clutch on the plastic tool, but I did put it on there and it did seem to hold it all right. So, yeah, it worked out pretty good. I got the bolts started anyway. So I'm just going to tighten them down now. I just got to look up the torque spec on them. And that'll be the clutch on. So these little orange things I think have to be removed. But we'll hold off on that for a few minutes here until I figure out exactly at what point they need to be removed. So, yeah, and then we got a shaft that's got to go through right here in this hole with the clutch fork on it and stuff like that. So, anyway, we got to do the throwout bearings as well. They're over here. So we got to put new bearings in that assembly. And, yeah, we'll be one step closer to pushing this thing back into one tractor looking piece, I guess. Well, we got the clutch all bolted down here, and I realized that when we bolt down the clutch, it pushes against this plate inside, and then now we can pull these orange doodads out that just hold it while it's apart or off the flywheel anyway. Oh, a little tight there, gotta fight the compression. So I'll go around and I'll pull the orange things off. I get my other hand on here, and yeah. So there's our orange things, and there's our clutch. So we are ready now. We're gonna put the I mentioned before, we're gonna put the shaft back in here. You can see the hole right there. The shaft goes across. Let me see what I do with it. Here's that shaft right here. I'm gonna clean up this here. This is the lever for that depresses or actuates the clutch when you press the pedal, basically. So I gotta clean this up and paint it, and then we'll put that on there, but that'll be in the next video. There, well, I hope you guys enjoyed the little clutch video here. It's not, the biggest leap forward in progress on this machine, but it is a leap forward in progress. So we have our clutch on the engine now, so just got a few more things to do in the next video, and I'm hoping the next video is going to be putting the tractor together, but we'll see. Actually, no, I'll tell you what we'll do. The next video we're going to be putting the turbo on. I think that's what we'll do. We'll put the turbo on, and then we'll get ready to put the tractor together. We got a few little things to do in between, like those bearings I mentioned, and the actuation lever, or another one's there. So a little bit to do. So we got a couple videos to do yet here, and then the tractor will be back in one piece. So anyway, guys, thanks for watching. Hope you guys enjoy following this build along, and we'll see you in the next video.